Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be working on this 1995 Jaguar Xj6. And this is a restoration project I picked up a couple of months ago. And it was an on-runner, had been sitting for about 2.5 years. And we've got it running. We've got the inside is pretty well cleaned up and back together. You'll have to excuse the dog barking. And then, it's a really nice car. 135,000 miles on it. But we're having a miss in the engine, and I've already done new spark plugs, new injectors, new coils, and the right side fender was crashed in, but we found one of those yesterday and went and picked that up at a local scrap yard. So that was a pretty good find right there. So today, what today's video is about is showing you how to change the valve cover on this Jaguar. This is a 4-liter 6-cylinder, and the spark plug tube seals. Because what happens is, under this cover here is where all your spark plugs are. When you pull this off, if the spark plug tube seals are leaking, down inside of the cylinder will be filled up with oil. And that, of course, is fouling out your plugs. So this appears to be the only video on YouTube that's going to show this process, because I couldn't find any videos on it. I've never done this before, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take you guys along with me. I just found I just was able to order the spark plug tube seals, the seals that go around these bolts, and the actual valve cover gasket itself. So let's dive right into this thing and see what we got here. Hang on, let me get the parts, some tools, and we'll be right back. Okay, I've laid out the parts that I ordered, which you can see. You need this valve cover gasket, and the part number on that, if you have an XJ with the 4-liter 6-cylinder, that's the valve cover gasket itself. And then these are the spark plug boot seals, tube seals I should say, and that's the part number for those. You're obviously going to need 6 of those. And then these are the actual washers that go around the bolt of the valve cover gasket. Now, the guy I got this stuff from is a Jaguar facility. He says I need 13 of these washers to go around the bolt heads, and this stuff is not cheap. Jaguar definitely loves their parts. Just for this little bit of stuff I got was $150. Now let me swap back over here to the car. He says I need 13 of those. Unless there's something hid under here, I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I only see 10. Oh, never mind. I see it. 11, 12, 13. So he is correct. There is 13. So we're going to pull this off first. Take this hose off of here. Take all of these out, all the way around, and then we'll go from there. So let me get a Torx bit, because you see these are Torx bits, and they are 2 different sizes. These ones are smaller. So let me get those, and I'll be right back. Okay, for the larger bolts, you need a T40 for these ones here. for the 3 smaller ones inside of here. T30. And I'm going to pull this off, and more than likely you're going to have to pull the spark plugs out too, which is, you know, pretty obvious. So I don't remember exactly what size spark plug socket it is for these. However, when I get to that point, I will come back and show you and tell you what size socket it is for the spark plug, but you can figure that out. It's pretty simple. So hang on and we'll be right back. And by the way, Jaguar has this little compartment right here. I'm not sure exactly what it's for, because I have a new set of spark plugs in here that I'm going to put in, and but I like to use this. I mean, it does have a label, you know, of all kinds of things, and there's a couple of fuses in here, but this is an awful big box for just a fuse panel. But either way, I like to put all my, you know, screws and stuff in there as I take them out, and then that way you won't lose them. Now, the Jaguar dealer / repair shop guy, I asked him what spark plugs he thought I should use, because I told him what I had seen online, and he recommended, he said, I only use NKGs, and these are NKGs of BKR6ES, and that's an NKG plug. He says that is the only plug that should be ran in these things. I don't know, you know, I think I have Bosch in there right now. But what happens when the oil gets up in here and gets on the spark plugs, it causes the engine to have a misfire. So by replacing those spark plug tube seals on the bottom of it, this one's not really leaking. This big gasket around here is not really leaking, but you have to take it all apart to get to the other one. So we're going to replace that. Probably going to go ahead and put these NKGs in there. I just didn't want to take a chance on fouling them out already, you know, being brand new, because they weren't cheap. They were like, I want to say $5 or $6 a piece. So I just said I'll, you know, just leave the Bosch in there for now until I get this gasket set. And this gasket set was hard to get. I couldn't find it anywhere. So let me get both of these covers off, and I'll be back. Okay, another part I forgot to tell you. Hang on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, folks. My battery died. But like I said, we got to get all these off of here. And these bolts here are going to be a, you can see here, a 5/16. So let's get I'll take all these bolts out of these coil packs, pull them all off, lay them to the side, and I'll bring you back on as soon as I get those pulled out. Alright. Don't know if you can see down in there or not. But you can see that cylinder definitely has, you see the shiny wetness all the way down in the bottom? That's a puddle of oil down in there. You can see these ones, see how dry they are? You can see all the way down to the bottom. There's nothing there. So this one at least has oil in it. The one right beside it has oil in it. And the rest of them look good. It just, cylinder 2 and cylinder 3, no, I'm sorry, yeah, 1, yeah, cylinder 2 and 3 both have oil in them. So you got to go through all this anyway. You might as well go ahead and replace all the seals while you have this apart. So let me get these wire clips undone, pull these injectors out of the way, these coil packs out of the way, and let me get all these big bolts out of here, and get this valve, the spark plugs out. Got to take all those out, and then lift this valve cover off here and see where we're going from there. Like I said, I've never done one on a Jaguar before, but it looks like it's pretty much self-explanatory. So we'll keep on going with it. Let me get all that stuff loose, and I'll bring you back on, and we'll see what it looks like on the inside. Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, this is what the spark plug looks like down inside there when you have that oil leaking around the spark plug tube seal. So let me get the rest of those out and I'll bring you back on. Alright, so here's what all the spark plugs look like. And I can assure you, with oil getting in there like that, you're definitely going to have a misfire. So I'm going to move on to, like I said, getting the big bolts out of the valve cover, and then I will bring you guys back on and we'll go from there. And just a little advice for you: all these bolts have washers on them, and sometimes when you're pulling them out, the washer will stay on here, or if you're pulling it out from over here and you're carrying it or whatever, if it is, make sure that this washer doesn't fall off and fall down in one of those holes, because it is small enough that it can go right down in the spark plug hole. Then you're gonna have a bad day. So just wanted to let you guys know that. Let me get the rest of those out of there and I'll bring you back in. Okay, so here you can see, here's the top of our engine. Here's the valve cover with those spark plug tube seals. And these two here were definitely leaking. That's the two that I showed you. There was a couple other ones. Once I took the spark plugs out, I could see. So, oh yeah, these things are so brittle and hard. So they're not pliable. They should be pliable, but these are, oh yeah, these are definitely no good. They don't even come back to shape when you squeeze them. So we're probably going to want to clean all this out right here. When we take them all out, we'll clean all these channels out so that this can seep back down inside there like it should. And then we'll wipe all this down. It doesn't appear, the guy, when I got the gasket set, he didn't say that this needed any silicone under here or on here, which you can clearly see there's none on top of there and there's none on here. So it does have a track that the gasket presses down into. There's a groove all the way around, and you can see, you know, those pieces back there. So we'll get this cleaned up, get the new seals and gaskets in, and then we'll go from there. And I'll bring you back on in just a minute. Okay, so we've got all this wiped off clean. You want to make sure that we don't have any, you know, build up or anything. These are just, you know, marks from heat over the time, so that's no problem there. And I'll show you what we got here. Just kind of working off the tailgate of this pickup for right now. I've got all the these new seals in. Let me just show you the difference in them. Look how pliable these are. The other ones were just brittle and hard. The valve cover was actually so hard. I mean, it literally just, well, that side's not really doing it, but right here and stuff, it just broke, you know, right into when I pulled it off. It broke in about 2 or 3 different pieces. So there's definitely no reusing that. So I don't believe we'll need any silicone under this to hold it in place. These are definitely going to stay in place, no doubt. They got a pretty good snug fit. The bigger gasket, it's a little bit looser, and it could try to fall off, you know, when I flip it over. But if it does, then I'm going to bring it back over here and put a small bead of silicone down in the channel just to hold the gasket in place, to make sure, because see, it's got these notches, and all the way around, you know, every so often there's a notch, and it's got to stay in those notches, because if it doesn't and the gasket gets up out of the groove, it's going to leak. So I'm going to go flip this over, set it down on there, see how it looks, and then I'll bring you back in. Okay, so I got it back on there. However, it did try to fall off of me a couple of times. I don't know if I can get this camera in there where you can see it. But right, let me see if I can get it to where you can see it. I can't really, let me show you on the old gasket real quick, just so you know what I'm talking about. Up against the firewall side, there is a U-shaped notch. There's two of them. One on the driver's side and one on the passenger side, which is where these sit down in there, and that's about how wide it is. You definitely have to make sure, you know, take your hand and just, you know, which is all I did, just take your hand and kind of feel back behind the motor and reach in it and feel and make sure that's flush against the back side of the head, and that the head is actually seated in this channel right here. One on this side and one over on the driver's side, because if you don't, and if it's tilted out, that seemed to be where I had the most trouble when I tried to drop that down on top of the cylinder head. Those pieces sticking down like that kept wanting to go onto the back side of the cylinder head rather than lining up on the cylinder head in the groove. So the next thing I know, that some of these bolts were kind of hard to get out of here because they got some corrosion and stuff on it. So I'm just going to take a piece of sandpaper and just clean them all up a little bit, and then we'll put all those all the valve cover bolt seals. But you have to put those in last because they don't snap in. They just kind of sit in there. If you put them in first and then flip it over and try to do the other side, they'll all fall out. And at $4 a piece, yeah, $4 a piece for those, you definitely don't want to be dropping them. So let me get all these bolts cleaned up and get those back in there, and I'll bring you back in. Okay, so we've got all these bolts back in, and now we are going to tighten them all down. Now these have to be set at 10 pounds, 10 foot-pounds of torque, or 120 inch-pounds. I'm not sure of a torque sequence, so I am going to start, you know, here and work my way out, and then I'll do, you know, the same thing. I'll just, you know, work my way out from the center of each one of these. So like I said, you know, you want to set your wrench at 10 foot-pounds. Like I said, unless you got one that's in inch-pounds, then you want 120 inch-pounds. So I'm going to go through, torque all these down, and we'll drop the spark plugs in after that and put the coil packs on and stuff. So I'll bring you back in as soon as I get all these torqued down. Okay, I got all that back in. Got the new spark plugs in, and these are going to be all the NKG ones that I had. Now we just got to flip all these coil packs over, put each one back in where they go, put this cover back on, and then we'll start this thing up, and she should be good to go. As long as we have no oil leaks, no misfires, then everything will be good. So let me finish that up, and I'll show you what we got. Okay folks, sorry about that again. Once again, I had my camera sitting up there while I was on pause, and it overheated, so it shut down, I guess, to save it or whatever. So I've got all this back together, and now it's for the moment of truth. Let's start this thing up and see how she runs. I haven't touched this, I haven't done anything to it, so this is going to be a cold start. Got a little belt squeal down there, but it seems to go away in just a few seconds. What you get like it just about has. And that's going to be a wrap. Good to go.